The next step is provider hands off. So I was talking about this a little bit just now, but I want to go a little deeper. So there's a difference between provider being hands-on versus provider being hands-off for protecting your perineum. Midwives typically are hands-off and OBs are typically hands-on, though every provider has a little bit of variety. So it's really important that you talk to your provider and you ask them how they do the delivery process and you make your wishes really, really clear. The research and evidence has been mixed throughout the world around what is better for protecting your perineum, right? Like having the hands be like physically protecting your perineum and touching your body when baby's coming out. Is that more protective, or is having hands off and no one touching you more protective? What we found is that provider being hands off is actually more protective. And the reason why is because when providers are hands on, you have an increased risk for episiotomy. And episiotomy will increase your risk for a severe tear by 22 times. So an episiotomy is a procedure where a provider will take sterile scissors and they'll make an incision. If this is the vaginal opening, they'll make an incision at the bottom of the perineum, often to the side like this, into the muscle to widen the delivery space. This is a procedure that should only be used 1% of the time. So the evidence-based episiotomy rate is 1%. If your provider, maybe as a midwife, is much more hands-off and their episiotomy rate is 1% or below, then I would not be very concerned with them being hands-on for the delivery of my baby. But if my provider has an episiotomy rate that's higher than 1, 2, 3%, then I would be a little bit more cautious and would probably choose to have provider hands-off to reduce my risk for a severe perineal tear from an episiotomy. So other ways that you can reduce your risk for episiotomy is to birth in an upright position, hands and knees, standing, squatting, and side lying is better than being on your back. Or you could birth in the water if possible. Water births have a much lower rate of episiotomy. And also having a provider that has an evidence-based episiotomy rate is really important too. Provider hands off, my second step for reducing your risk for tearing. There's this idea that if someone is like putting their hands on your body and protecting your perineum, and if they're maybe when the head is born, it usually does this, like a little flex. They want to like keep the head from flexing. There's this idea that when they do that, they're actually protecting your perineum. But we have research that shows that that's actually not true. I've talked to many providers as a doula when I'm trying to advocate for one of my clients who is saying they want a hands-off birth with an OB. I will tell the OB like she just wants no one to touch the baby or her body when the baby's coming out. And he's like, but she's a first-time mom. Like, how am I going to protect her perineum if I can't touch her? And I'm like, she knows that. She knows the risk. Sorry. This is what she wants. So there's a lot of providers that really believe that them being hands-on is going to be more protective for your perineum. But the research and evidence does not support that. So just know that.